The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched high above the delegates like a crystal cathedral. Thousands of alien representatives filled the curved seats, their various forms creating a rainbow of colors and shapes. At the center podium, Ambassador Lisa Carter stood perfectly still, her hands resting on the formal documents she had just placed there. The silence felt heavy. Lisa had been coming to these meetings for 15 years, always polite, always patient, always asking nicely for fair treatment. Today was different. Something in her blue eyes made even the oldest council members shift in their seats. "The motion passes unanimously," announced Chairman Valdros, his ancient voice echoing through the chamber. The tall, pale Valdari had been leading the council for 300 years. He looked down at Lisa with what might have been pity. "The human colonies on Kepler 442b, Proxima Centauri C, and Wolf 359b will be relocated within 6 standard months. These systems are required for galactic stability." Lisa Carter did not flinch. She had expected this. For 37 years, humanity had endured the Council's rules. Trade restrictions that made no sense. Limits on where humans could travel. Constant watching and checking of everything humans did. All of it wrapped in polite words about protecting the young species and guiding humanity's development. But this was different. These 3 worlds were home to over 200 million humans. They had built cities, farms, research centers. Children had been born there. Families had lived there for generations, and now the Council wanted them gone because other species needed those star systems. Ambassador Carter, Chairman Valdros continued, "Humanity has 6 months to complete the relocation. The Council will provide temporary housing on approved worlds during the transition." Lisa looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at her, Zarathi with their changing skin colors, Keth with their insect-like features, dozens of other species, all watching to see how the humans would react. They expected her to beg. They expected her to cry or get angry or make threats she could not keep. Instead, Lisa Carter smiled. "The human delegation requests a recess," she said, her voice calm and clear. "We need exactly 72 hours to consider our position." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Chairman Valdros frowned. "Ambassador, this is not a negotiation. The decision has been made." "I understand," Lisa replied. "We simply need time to prepare our response. 72 hours. Light years away, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of Orbital Station Phoenix, watching Earth turn slowly below. His weathered face showed no emotion as he read the message that had just arrived from the council chambers. Behind him, his communications officer waited for orders. "Sir?" the young woman asked. "What are your instructions?" Jake looked out at the space around Earth's orbit. To anyone watching, they would see merchant ships, research vessels, and small defense platforms. Nothing that looked threatening. Nothing that would worry the Council's intelligence services. "Send the Phoenix Protocol to all stations," Jake said quietly. "Authorization code Thunder 77. The communications officer's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. "Yes, sir." Phoenix Protocol activated. On the planet's surface, Dr. Amanda Foster looked up from her laboratory computer as the priority message arrived. She had been working on her latest medical research, a breakthrough that could cure 3 different diseases that plagued alien species across the galaxy. The Council had already sent warnings that human medical research was advancing too quickly and needed proper oversight. Amanda read the message twice, then walked to her secure terminal. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard, sending coded instructions to research facilities on 47 worlds. Projects that had taken years to develop would be ready for Phase 2 within days. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, engineer Roy Campbell received the same message aboard mining platform Delta 7. To the Council's observers, Roy was just another human digging rocks and metal from space debris. They did not know that Delta 7 was connected to a network of installations that stretched across human space. They did not know that Roy's mining equipment served other purposes. Roy called his team together. 23 engineers, all humans, all trained for this exact moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "we just received Phoenix Protocol." "You know what that means," the engineers nodded. They had been preparing for this day for over a decade. Every tool, every system, every backup plan was ready. The Council thought they were watching simple human workers. They had no idea what Roy's people had actually been building. Back in the Council chambers, Ambassador Lisa Carter had not moved from the podium. She stood there like a statue, looking up at the alien delegates with that same calm smile. Finally, Chairman Valdros spoke again. Very well, Ambassador. You have 72 hours. But I warn you, this decision cannot be changed. The relocation will proceed as scheduled. Thank you, Chairman, Lisa replied. She gathered her documents and walked toward the exit. Her aide, a young man named Peter Walsh, hurried to keep up with her long strides. Ambassador, Peter whispered as they left the chamber. What exactly are we going to do in 72 hours? Lisa did not slow down. We are going to show the Council what happens when you push human patience too far. Peter frowned. I don't understand. We don't have any weapons. We can't fight the entire galaxy. What can we possibly do? Lisa stopped walking and turned to face her aide. For the first time in 15 years of diplomatic service, she let her mask slip just a little. Peter saw something in her eyes that made him step back. Peter, she said softly, the Council thinks they have been controlling humanity for 37 years. They think we have been weak and obedient. They think we have been waiting for their permission to live our lives. She looked back toward the Council chambers, where alien delegates were still discussing the human problem. They are about to learn that humans do not wait for permission. We prepare, we plan, we build, and when we are ready, we act. Peter stared at his boss, finally understanding that everything was about to change. What do you need me to do? Lisa Carter smiled again, but this time it was not the polite, diplomatic smile she used in meetings. This was something else entirely. Send a message to every human world, every human ship, every human station, she said. Tell them it's time. Tell them the Council has made their choice, and then we show them ours. The emergency meeting took place in a room that officially did not exist. Deep beneath the lunar surface, General Patricia Hayes spread classified files across a metal table, while Admiral Kevin Stone activated the secure communication system. The room filled with holographic images of humans from across the galaxy. Phoenix Protocol is now active, General Hayes announced to the assembled faces. We have 72 hours to complete preparations. I need status reports from all sectors. Captain Jake Morrison appeared first, his image flickering slightly from the distance. Orbital Defense Command reporting. All merchant vessels have received coded instructions. We are ready to implement Phase 2 of the Shepard Initiative. Dr. Amanda Foster's face materialized next. Medical Research Division ready. All treatment facilities have been notified. We can cease production and distribution within 6 hours if needed. Engineer Roy Campbell nodded from his asteroid mining platform. Industrial Operations confirms readiness. All infrastructure support can be terminated on command. Backup systems are in place for essential human colonies only. Admiral Stone leaned forward. The Council thinks they are relocating 200 million humans from 3 worlds. They have no idea they are about to lose the foundation of their civilization. General Hayes pulled up a galaxy-wide map. Red dots marked human presence across Council space. There were thousands of them. For 37 years, we have been patient. We have followed their rules, accepted their restrictions, and asked politely for basic rights. During all that time, we have been building. The map zoomed in on various sectors. Each red dot represented something the Council needed but did not realize they needed. Communication relays, medical facilities, food production centers, mining operations, research stations, defense installations, transportation hubs. Captain Morrison, General Hayes continued, explain the Shepard Initiative to those who are not familiar with it. Jake Morrison's image became clearer as he adjusted his transmission. 12 years ago, we realized the Council would eventually force a confrontation. We began placing our people and equipment in positions where they could serve dual purposes. Every merchant ship we built could carry cargo or maintain communication networks. Every research station could develop medicine or monitor space traffic. Every mining operation could extract resources or provide early warning systems. Dr. Foster added, the medical program alone supports 68 different species across the galaxy. We produce treatments for diseases that would kill millions of aliens. We grow food supplements that prevent starvation on 43 worlds. We maintain water purification systems on 16 planets. The scope of human involvement was staggering. While the Council saw humanity as a junior species that needed guidance, humans had quietly become the glue that held galactic civilization together. Engineer Campbell's voice was grim. The quantum communication network relies on human-built relays. Without them, Real-time communication across the galaxy becomes impossible. The Council's own meetings depend on our equipment. Defense systems? Admiral Stone asked. 80% of the Council's early warning networks use human-designed sensors, Campbell replied. Our people maintain the automated defense platforms that protect major trade routes from pirate attacks. We built the shield generators that protect 3 Council homeworlds from solar radiation. General Hayes stood up. The Council believes they are punishing humanity by forcing relocations. They think we will beg for mercy or make empty threats. Instead, we are going to show them what they actually lose when they push us away. The holographic faces around the room nodded. These were not angry humans seeking revenge. These were professionals who had spent decades preparing for this exact situation. Colony Governor Paul Davis, reporting from Kepler 442b, a new voice announced. A middle-aged man with gray hair appeared in the communication grid. All non-essential personnel are already evacuating. Essential systems are being transferred to automated mode or shut down entirely. What about the civilian population? Dr. Foster asked. They know what is happening, Paul replied. 3 generations of humans were born on this world, but they understand the bigger picture. We are not just fighting for our right to live here. We are fighting for our right to exist as equals in this galaxy. Admiral Stone brought up another display. Intelligence reports from our people embedded in Council operations. They are already detecting unusual activity in human sectors, but they think it is panic. They expect us to make desperate mistakes. Let them think that, General Hayes said. The longer they underestimate us, the better. Fleet Admiral Helen Brooks joined the communication from her flagship at the edge of Council space. Military assets are repositioning. We are not preparing for war, but we are prepared to defend human interests if the Council decides to use force. What about the neutral species? Asked Research Director Emma Clark from her station orbiting a distant star. The ones that have good relationships with humanity? They will have to choose sides, General Hayes replied. Some will support the Council out of fear. Others will remember which species has been helping them for decades. Defense contractor Alan Price appeared on screen from his facility near Jupiter. Production lines are ready to shift. If the Council wants to play hardball, we can stop manufacturing the components their defense systems require. The meeting continued for 2 hours as each sector reported their status. Transportation networks that could be shut down, power systems that could be recalled, defensive installations that could go dark, food production that could cease, medical supplies that could run out. By the time the meeting ended, one thing was clear. Humanity had not been building a civilization under Council oversight. They had been building a support system that the Council depended on without realizing it. 72 hours, General Hayes reminded everyone as the communication links began closing. At the end of that time, Ambassador Carter will return to the Council chambers. She will not be asking for mercy. She will be explaining reality. Captain Morrison was the last to disconnect. General, do you really think the Council will understand what we are telling them? Patricia Hayes looked at the empty room, then at the galaxy map still glowing above the table. Thousands of red dots marking human presence across space, each one a thread in the web that held alien civilization together. Captain, for 37 years the Council has seen human patience as weakness. They are about to learn that our patience was just preparation time. When humans finally act, we do not just break things. We have already built something better to replace them. The communication went dark, leaving General Hayes alone with her thoughts. In 70 hours, the Galactic Council would face a choice they never expected to make. Accept humanity as equals or watch their civilization fall apart without human support. Either way, things would never be the same. The Council chambers had never been so quiet. Every delegate seat was filled, and additional observers crowded the viewing galleries. Word had spread through the galaxy that something important was about to happen. The humans were returning with their answer. Ambassador Lisa Carter walked to the central podium with the same calm confidence she had shown 3 days earlier. But this time she was not alone. Captain Jake Morrison stood to her right, Dr. Amanda Foster to her left. Behind them, Engineer Roy Campbell and 12 other humans formed a line across the speaking area. Chairman Valdros looked down from his elevated seat, his ancient features showing mild curiosity. Ambassador Carter, the Council is ready to hear humanity's response to the relocation order. Lisa smiled and activated the holographic projector built into the podium. The chamber filled with a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of lights sparkled across the display, creating a beautiful pattern of interconnected systems. Honored counselors, Lisa began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast space. Humanity accepts your relocation order. However, we feel it is only fair to inform you of the complications this might create. The map zoomed in on the 3 human colony worlds that were to be evacuated. Red lines began extending from each planet, reaching out to touch other systems across the galaxy. More red lines appeared, connecting those systems to others, creating a web of connections that spread throughout Council space. These are not just colonies, Lisa explained. They are integral parts of the galactic infrastructure that keeps your civilizations functioning. Murmurs began spreading through the chamber as delegates realized the scope of what they were seeing. The Zorathi representative's skin shifted through several colors, indicating confusion and alarm. The Keth delegate's antennae twitched rapidly. Captain Morrison stepped forward. Kepler 442b houses the primary communication relay station for this entire sector. Without it, real-time communication between 47 star systems becomes impossible. Your own emergency response networks depend on our equipment. The map highlighted the affected systems. Nearly half the galaxy would lose instant communication if that single human colony was abandoned. Dr. Foster spoke next. Proxima Centauri C produces 60% of the medical compounds used to treat Keth neural degeneration syndrome. It also manufactures the food supplements that prevent starvation on 17 Council worlds. Our research facilities there develop treatments for diseases across 12 different species. More connections appeared on the map, showing the flow of medical supplies and food from human facilities to alien worlds. The scope was staggering. Engineer Campbell gestured to the display. Wolf 359b maintains the quantum processing centers that power the defensive grids protecting 14 major systems. The antimatter containment specialists stationed there are the only beings in this galaxy capable of maintaining those systems safely. The chamber erupted in shocked voices as delegates began to understand what they were seeing. These were not simple human colonies that could be easily relocated. They were critical infrastructure points that supported the entire galactic civilization. Council Defense Coordinator Nick Phillips stepped forward to join the human delegation. His presence caused another wave of surprise. Nick was supposed to be on the Council's side, not standing with the humans. Counselors, Nick announced. I have been working with human engineers for 8 years to improve our defense systems. What they are showing you is completely accurate. The systems we rely on for protection, communication, and basic survival are largely maintained by human personnel. Chairman Valdros leaned forward, his composure finally cracking. This is impossible. Our intelligence services monitor all human activities. We would have known if you were this integrated into our infrastructure. Lisa Carter's smile widened. With respect, Chairman, your intelligence services see what we allow them to see. They observe human merchant ships and assume they only carry cargo. They watch human research stations and assume they only study medicine. They monitor human mining operations and assume they only extract resources. The holographic display began showing the true nature of human operations. The merchant ship designs that doubled as communication relay maintenance vessels. The research stations that monitored space traffic and provided early warning systems. The mining operations that housed defensive installations and processing centers. Every human facility serves multiple purposes, Captain Morrison explained. We learned long ago that the Council would not allow us to build obvious military or infrastructure assets. So we built dual-use facilities that appeared harmless while serving critical functions. Dr. Foster added, we did not do this to deceive you. We did this to help you. When plague struck the Zorathi homeworld 6 years ago, human medical facilities worked around the clock to develop treatments. When pirate fleets threatened the trade routes, human defense networks provided protection. When natural disasters damaged communication systems, human engineers restored them. The display showed incident after incident where human assistance had prevented disasters across the galaxy, famines avoided because of human food production, diseases cured by human research, invasions stopped by human defense systems, wars prevented by human-maintained communication networks. Engineer Campbell brought up the technical specifications. The quantum communication network alone requires 17,000 human technicians to maintain. Training replacements would take 23 years, assuming other species could even learn the necessary skills. Some of the work requires specific human brain patterns that other species cannot replicate. A new voice spoke from the council seats. The elderly Valdari counselor who had guided galactic policy for 3 centuries rose slowly from her chair. What exactly are you telling us, Ambassador Carter? Lisa looked directly at the ancient alien leader. We are telling you that humanity has been the foundation supporting your civilization for decades. You have built your society on top of our work, our research, our protection, and our goodwill, and now you are asking us to remove that foundation. The relocation order stands, Chairman Valdros declared. Though his voice lacked conviction, the council has made its decision, and we have made ours, Lisa replied calmly. As of 6 hours ago, all human support personnel began withdrawing from non-essential positions throughout council space. Emergency services will continue for humanitarian reasons, but all other assistance will cease within the month. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The map still glowed above them, showing the thousands of connections that would be severed, transportation networks that would fail, communication systems that would go dark, defense grids that would collapse, medical supplies that would run out. Captain Morrison delivered the final piece of information. We estimate that Council civilization will begin experiencing critical failures within 6 weeks of complete human withdrawal. Full system collapse would occur within 18 months. Dr. Foster's voice was gentle but firm. We do not want this to happen. We have worked for decades to build these relationships and support systems, but we will not continue to prop up a civilization that treats us as second-class citizens. The Zorathi representative finally found his voice. You are threatening the entire galaxy. No, Lisa Carter replied. We are explaining the consequences of your own decision. You chose to remove humanity from positions where we provide critical support. We are simply honoring your choice. Chairman Valdros stood up, his ancient frame trembling slightly. This is blackmail. Lisa's expression remained calm. This is reality. For 37 years we have asked for equal treatment. For 37 years we have been told to wait, to be patient, to prove ourselves worthy. During that time, we proved our worth by becoming indispensable to your survival. She gestured to the holographic display one final time. You wanted to relocate 200 million humans from 3 worlds. But those humans support 200 billion aliens across 200 worlds. The choice is yours, counselors. Treat us as equals, or learn to survive without us. The council chambers erupted into chaos as delegates began shouting questions and demands. But Ambassador Lisa Carter simply gathered her materials and walked away, her delegation following behind her. The message was clear. Humanity's patience had limits, and the council had just discovered what lay beyond those limits. The emergency session began 18 hours after Ambassador Carter had left the council chambers. Panic spread through the galaxy faster than the quantum communication networks could carry the news. Reports flooded in from every sector as the reality of human withdrawal became clear. Chairman Valdros called the assembly to order, but his usual commanding presence was gone. The ancient Valdari looked older than his 300 years as he faced the crisis unfolding around him. The situation reports, he announced grimly. The Zorathi representative spoke first, his skin cycling through rapid color changes that indicated extreme distress. The medical crisis is worse than anticipated. Human research stations have gone dark across 4 sectors. Without their treatments, 60 million of our people will die from neural degeneration within 18 months. The Keth delegate's antennae drooped as she added her report. Food production systems are failing. Human-operated agricultural facilities have ceased supplying the supplements that prevent starvation on our outer colonies. We have emergency reserves for perhaps 6 months. More reports followed, each worse than the last. The hegemony of worlds had lost 40% of their defensive capability overnight. The Trade Federation could no longer guarantee safe passage through major shipping lanes. The Peaceful Alliance discovered that their communication with distant colonies had been severed. Admiral Kevin Stone entered the chamber with a formal escort of council guards. His presence caused a stir among the delegates who remembered him as just another human military officer. Now he stood before them as the representative of a power they had never fully understood. Admiral Stone, Chairman Valdros said, his voice strained. The council demands an explanation for these aggressive actions. Kevin Stone looked around the chamber with cold professionalism. There are no aggressive actions, Chairman. There are simply consequences. The council ordered the relocation of human populations from critical infrastructure positions. We are complying with that order. You are destroying galactic civilization, accused the hegemony representative. We are removing human support from galactic civilization, Admiral Stone corrected. The Terran Federation began preparing for this possibility 11 years ago, when the Council first discussed containing human expansion. Every system, every service, every critical function was designed with redundancy and failsafes. He activated his own holographic display, showing the galaxy-wide network of human operations. We simply never told you that we were your failsafe. Dr. Amanda Foster appeared on screen from her medical research facility. Her image was being broadcast to every Council world simultaneously. The medical crisis can be avoided, she announced, but not through force or threats. Human medical teams are prepared to resume full operations immediately, but only under revised circumstances. What circumstances? Demanded the Keth delegate. Equal treatment, Dr. Foster replied simply. Full representation in galactic governance. Unrestricted research and development. Free movement throughout Council space. The same rights you grant to every other member species. Engineer Roy Campbell's transmission came next, from his position in the asteroid belt. The infrastructure failures cascading through your systems are not attacks. They are maintenance issues. Human technicians are no longer available to repair and upgrade systems that were designed to require human oversight. The scope of the crisis became clearer with each report. Campbell's data showed that replacing human quantum engineers alone would require training programs lasting 2 decades. Finding aliens capable of maintaining antimatter containment systems might be impossible, since 3 species lacked the biological capability to even perceive the necessary energy frequencies. Chairman Valdros slumped in his seat as the reality sank in. How long have you been planning this? Admiral Stone's expression remained neutral. We have been preparing for self-sufficiency since the day we joined the galactic community. We hoped it would never be necessary. We wanted to build partnerships, not dependencies. But you created dependencies anyway, the Valdari counselor observed. We created relationships, Admiral Stone corrected. When your people needed help, we helped. When your worlds faced disasters, we responded. When your technology failed, we repaired it. Those were choices made from goodwill, not strategic planning. Dr. Foster continued her broadcast. The Human Medical Research Program has freely shared every breakthrough with the galactic community. We developed treatments for diseases that do not affect humans. We created food supplements for species with completely different dietary needs. We did this because we believed in cooperation and mutual support. Engineer Campbell added, human infrastructure projects were designed to benefit everyone. We built communication networks that connected isolated worlds to the galactic community. We established defense systems that protected trade routes and colonies. We maintained power grids that supplied energy to billions of beings. The Council delegates sat in stunned silence as they absorbed the magnitude of their miscalculation. For 37 years, they had seen human cooperation as submission. They had interpreted human patience as weakness. They had mistaken human generosity for dependence. You planned this entire crisis, Chairman Valdros accused, grasping for some way to maintain moral authority. We planned for survival, Admiral Stone replied. When a species faces extinction, it develops contingency plans. The Council has repeatedly threatened human existence through restrictions, relocations, and limitations. We prepared for the day when those threats became reality. Captain Jake Morrison's image appeared alongside the others. His merchant fleet was visible through the observation windows of his command ship. Every human vessel in space received evacuation orders 6 days ago. Non-essential personnel are being withdrawn to human-controlled systems. Essential personnel are being relocated to automated stations. What about the colonies you were ordered to abandon? Asked the Trade Federation representative. Kepler 442b, Proxima Centauri C, and Wolf 359b are being evacuated as ordered, Captain Morrison replied. However, the infrastructure they supported cannot be evacuated. Communication relays cannot be moved. Medical production facilities cannot be relocated. Defense systems cannot be transplanted. The implications were staggering. The 3 colonies the Council wanted to clear were not just human settlements. They were the nerve centers that coordinated activities across dozens of systems. Dr. Foster's voice carried a note of sadness. We could have worked together. Human ingenuity and alien wisdom could have built something magnificent. Instead, you chose to treat us as a problem to be managed rather than partners to be respected. The damage is already spreading, Engineer Campbell reported. Defense grid failures in the outer rim. Communication blackouts affecting 12 systems. Power shortages beginning on 4 industrial worlds. The cascade effect will accelerate over the coming weeks. Admiral Stone addressed the chamber one final time. The Terran Federation is not interested in revenge or conquest. We want only what every species in this galaxy wants, the right to exist, to grow, and to determine our own future. And if we refuse? Chairman Valdros asked weakly. Then you will learn to survive without human assistance, Admiral Stone replied. Your ancestors built great civilizations before humans arrived in this galaxy. Perhaps you can do so again. The session ended with no resolution. The Council faced an impossible choice: grant humans equal status or watch their interconnected civilization collapse. Pride warred with necessity as alien leaders struggled to accept a reality they had never anticipated. In the depths of space, human ships continued their quiet withdrawal from systems across the galaxy. They left behind failing infrastructure, faltering defenses, and alien populations finally beginning to understand what they were losing. The species that had seemed so patient and harmless had revealed themselves as the most formidable power in the galaxy. Not through conquest or aggression, but through competence and preparation. The Council had pushed humanity's patience to its breaking point, only to discover that when humans finally acted, they held all the cards. 3 weeks had passed since the human withdrawal began, and the Galactic Council faced a reality they had never imagined possible. Their great civilization was crumbling without human support. Communication networks flickered and failed across entire sectors. Medical supplies ran low on dozens of worlds. Defense systems went dark, leaving trade routes vulnerable to pirate attacks. The emergency sessions had become daily affairs, as each species reported new failures and growing casualties. The proud council that had dictated terms to humanity now scrambled desperately to maintain basic services. Ambassador Lisa Carter returned to the chamber, but everything had changed. She no longer stood alone at the central podium like a supplicant begging for mercy. Admiral Kevin Stone walked beside her, along with Dr. Amanda Foster, Captain Jake Morrison, and representatives from every human world. They entered not as subjects seeking permission, but as equals offering solutions. The chamber was packed beyond capacity, not just with council delegates, but with observers from neutral species, reporters from across the galaxy, and emergency coordinators trying to manage the growing crisis. Everyone knew that what happened today would reshape galactic civilization forever. Chairman Valdros looked haggard as he called the session to order. The ancient Valdari had aged visibly during the crisis, his once commanding presence reduced to desperate exhaustion. Ambassador Carter, he began, his voice hoarse, the Council is prepared to hear humanity's terms. Lisa Carter smiled, but it was not the polite diplomatic expression she had worn for 15 years of futile negotiations. This was the confident smile of someone who held all the advantages. The Terran Federation is prepared to resume full support of galactic civilization, she announced, her words carrying clearly through the vast chamber, under revised circumstances. She activated the holographic display, showing the galaxy-wide network of human operations that had gone dark over the past 3 weeks. Our withdrawal was surgical and precise. We maintained emergency medical services to prevent unnecessary deaths. We continued food distribution to worlds facing starvation. We kept basic communication networks functioning to prevent complete chaos. Dr. Foster stepped forward. As we speak, human medical teams are ready to restore full operations immediately. The treatments for Zarathi neural degeneration can resume within hours. Food supplement production can restart by tomorrow. No one needs to die while politicians sort out their differences. The Zorathi representative's skin shifted to grateful blue tones. The Keth delegates' antennae twitched with desperate hope. Across the chamber, alien faces showed the strain of 3 weeks without human support. Engineer Roy Campbell added, infrastructure repair teams are standing by. The quantum communication networks can be fully restored within 1 week. Defense systems can be back online within 2 weeks. Power grids can be stabilized immediately. But Admiral Stone's voice carried a note of steel. However, the Terran Federation will not return to the previous arrangement. We will not continue propping up a civilization that treats us as second-class citizens. What are your demands? Chairman Valdros asked, though the word demands seemed inadequate for the situation. Lisa Carter gestured to her delegation. Full representation on the Galactic Council with voting rights equal to any founding member. Human colonies retain complete sovereignty over their internal affairs. Human research and development proceeds without oversight or interference. Human vessels travel freely through all systems without restriction or monitoring. She paused, looking around the chamber at the faces of aliens who finally understood humanity's true position. Most importantly, humanity gains veto power over council decisions that affect human interests. Never again will our people face arbitrary relocation orders or discriminatory restrictions. The chamber erupted in voices as delegates debated among themselves. Some protested the terms as too generous. Others argued they had no choice but to accept. The balance of power had shifted completely. Council Defense Coordinator Nick Phillips stood up from his seat among the human delegation. His betrayal of council interest during the crisis had shocked many delegates, but his technical expertise made him invaluable to both sides. The military implications are clear, he announced.
Human defense networks protect 43% of council space.
Human early warning systems monitor 70% of the galaxy's borders. Without this protection, we face invasion from outside forces and civil war from within. The hegemony representative spoke up. These terms make humanity a dominant power in the galaxy. How do we know you will not abuse this position? Dr. Foster answered with characteristic human pragmatism. Because we are already restoring services without waiting for formal agreement. Our medical teams resumed emergency operations 6 hours ago, when we learned that children were dying on Keth colony worlds. Our engineers are already fixing critical infrastructure failures that threaten civilian populations. Captain Morrison added, the human fleet could have blockaded council worlds during this crisis. We could have seized territory or demanded tribute. Instead, we continued protecting trade routes from pirates and providing disaster relief to affected systems. The truth was undeniable. Even while negotiating from a position of complete advantage, humans were still helping their former oppressors survive the crisis they had created. Chairman Valdros struggled with the new reality. You orchestrated this entire situation? Decades of deception and manipulation leading to this moment. No, Ambassador Carter replied calmly. Decades of patience and preparation. We hoped you would eventually treat us as equals through respect and understanding. When that failed, we arranged for you to treat us as equals through necessity. Admiral Stone addressed the chamber's security concerns. Human military forces will integrate with existing council defense networks under joint command structures. We seek partnership, not dominance, but we will defend ourselves and our interests with whatever force proves necessary. Dr. Foster was already coordinating with alien medical officials through her portable communication device. I am authorizing the immediate restart of treatment programs for critical patients. Politics should never prevent people from receiving life-saving care. Engineer Campbell was doing the same with infrastructure systems. Emergency repair teams are being dispatched to restore communication links to isolated colonies. Basic services should be restored within 48 hours. The practical humanitarian response was having its effect on council delegates. Here were humans offering immediate relief from the crisis, asking only for the respect and equality that should have been theirs from the beginning. Colony Governor Paul Davis appeared on the main display from Kepler 442b. The human populations evacuating these 3 worlds understand the larger principle at stake. We are not just fighting for our right to live here. We are fighting for our children's right to live as free beings in a galaxy that respects human dignity. The evacuations will stop, Lisa Carter announced. Human colonies will remain on their chosen worlds under full sovereignty. The infrastructure they support will continue operating under human control. The final element of the new arrangement was the most revolutionary. Admiral Stone brought up the organizational charts showing how galactic governance would change. The council structure remains, but humanity joins as a full partner with equal voice in all decisions. Human expertise in infrastructure, medicine, defense, and technology will be shared freely with all member species. In return, human rights and interests receive the same protection afforded to any council member. Chairman Valdros looked around the chamber at his fellow delegates. The choice was clear: accept humanity as equals or watch their civilization collapse without human support. The Council accepts these terms, he announced quietly. Ambassador Lisa Carter nodded. Then let us begin building something better together. Across the galaxy, human ships changed course. Instead of continuing their withdrawal, they began returning to their posts. Medical facilities resumed full operations. Communication networks stabilized. Defense systems came back online, but the galaxy had changed forever. The species that had seemed so patient and manageable had revealed themselves as indispensable partners who would no longer accept second-class status. The Council that once dictated to humanity now worked alongside them as equals. Captain Morrison shared a private moment with Ambassador Carter as the formal documents were signed. Think they learned their lesson? She watched the Council delegates, still processing their new reality. Some looked relieved. Others appeared resentful. All of them understood that the old order was gone forever. They learned that human patience has limits, she replied. But they also learned that human mercy does not. We could have let their worlds fall apart. Instead, we saved them while teaching them to respect us. The galaxy's newest equal partners took their seats at the council table, ready to build a civilization based on mutual respect, rather than imposed hierarchy. Humanity had been pushed to its breaking point, but when they finally acted, they had chosen to heal rather than harm, to build rather than destroy. The council watched as humanity claimed its rightful place in galactic civilization, finally understanding that when humans break, they do not just break things, they rebuild them better.